Hello, I'm Catherine Harwood and welcome back to 321stamp.com. Today I'm going to show you how to make this really cute little box. My daughter Riley is behind the camera, so she's going to zoom in now so that you get to look at the action, and she's going to take a step forward so she can get in close. The really neat thing about this little box is it opens like a matchbox, but it's large enough to hold all those nuggets and lots of other kinds of things, candy or a gift card. Has a little window in it, which has been covered up with window plastic so that your candy doesn't fall out. And the embellishment was done with the Simply Said stamp set. So I stamped the heart design, punched it out with our heart punch, and I'll tell you more about the embellishment in just a minute. This little box has some texture to it. It's a little more subtle because this texture was made with our textures plates. This one has really pretty texture, and I'm going to let Riley zoom in and try to capture that, which was done with our embossing folder, and this was called the finial press. So let me show you. The secret to this box is the Movers and Shapers die from Stampin' Up, and it comes with this little curly label looking magnetic window that you can move around, and you can cut it wherever you want in the front of the card, and then it cuts out the whole card and scores it. So here's an example of a card where you can see the little window, and this particular die that comes with it even perforates around it. And you see one little fish, but when you open it, you see more fish swimming in a little sea that I just did with some sponging. So that's what the die is designed to do, but I want to show you how neat, starting with a piece of cardstock that's 4 1/4 inches wide by 10 inches long, and replacing this window with a heart window that comes with a little add-on set. Okay, and so in here you get not only the heart window, but let me show you what else you get. You get other little shapes, and the neat thing is the star, the modern label, the oval scallop, and the full heart. The white part that you see was made with a punch, a hand punch. The colored cardstock part that's slightly larger, like a mat, was cut out with one of these windows, these magnetic window dies that will fit right inside the Movers and Shapers system. So it's very, very clever. So we are going to use the heart, and there's some little guides inside. Riley will zoom in and show you how I'm going to basically place my heart where I want it. And I'm going to take my 4 1/4 by 10 inch piece of cardstock. And what I want you to see is how I'm going to put it literally right down in the well of that cutting area. So I really don't need to cut off the edges. And then up here, if you zoom in, you can see where it would cut if it was cutting out a full card, and it's 1 inch short there. So we are going to layer this between 2 extended cutting plates. Roll it through the Big Shot machine. I always get lots of questions from Cuttlebug users about whether our Bigs XL dies will fit through a Cuttlebug. They will. The die itself will fit through, but the clear plates are just a little bit too wide, so you would have to have a glass cutter cut about 1/4 of an inch off of these clear plates if you wanted to use this system in a Cuttlebug. So you can see what I have is a little purple heart, and I'm going to save that because that can be the little mat for the embellishment on my box. And then I have a card that has 1 score mark on it and a cutout heart. Before we make some more score lines to turn it into the top of the box, we are going to add some texture and embossing to this. And I'm going to do that with the Finial Press embossing folder. Now the embossing folder has an arrow on it, and I like to say that the arrow points me in the right direction. It lets me know to put the right side of the cardstock against that side. And because I can see through the folder, I'm going to use that score line as a guide. And that's where I'm going to line up my pattern so that it stops right at that score line. And then I can make sure my pattern bleeds off each edge and it just lines up perfectly. That arrow also lets me know that I want to roll it through the machine in that direction with the arrow facing down. So I'm going to sandwich it between my cutting plates. And then when you roll an embossing folder through, you want to use the multi-purpose platform with no tabs. So you open up tab number 1 and 2, go ahead and slide them on through the machine. And the important thing to remember when you're embossing just the front of a card or the front of a box is to put the paper that you're not embossing anything on. Put that through the machine first, and that way it doesn't take any pressure. it doesn't get any lines in it. Because when you get to the end, I want you to listen to this click. That little release of the pressure that was pretty subtle might press into my card. So I just put that through first. And now I have beautiful pattern that goes up to my score line. Now to turn this into the lid of the box, all you have to do is add some score lines. So you come over here to the Fiskars cutter, and you're going to do all your scoring from this end that's closest to your heart window. And I'm going to score it at 1 inch, 4.5, and 9 inches. So 1 inch, 4.5, and 9 inches, okay? And then all I have to do is fold on those lines, add some Tombow multi-adhesive to this flap. I love this glue. One of the tricks is to shake it down first, and you don't need a lot. This glue has latex in it, so if you have a latex allergy, watch for that. But the reason I love this instead of sticky strip, I should explain why. It gives you wiggle time. I can move this around, and look how beautiful. I have embossing, 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 and then the bottom's not embossed. Now, we need to make the little slider bottom that goes inside. All you do is start with a piece of cardstock. This is lavender lace, 5¼ wide by 6 inches long. Score it exactly 7/8 of an inch from each side. Then use your scissors to make little cuts, little cut, little cut, little cut. So 4 little cuts on opposite long edges. Same thing. Use my glue, little bit, fold that up. You do that 4 times, and you've made a box bottom, okay? Now, it's a 15-inch piece of ribbon that I've wrapped around, so it's just the organdy satin. And then a little bit of a trick for the embellishment. I stamped one of the hearts from Simply Said, punched it out with the corresponding full heart punch, layered that onto my little heart. And then a neat little trick for the center. I picked one of the floral hearts that's in that's part of Simply Said, and I stamped it. So I'm going to tear off so that I can get right up to the next one, and I'm going to use the 3 heart punch, and I'm going to use this heart, just this one, upside down, and I can punch out a shape from that little flower heart. And when I want to do the next one, I just keep tearing it off, and then I can reach the little heart. So if I'm making more than one box, see how I can punch out just that one little heart? I'm not really even using the other heart. So I can put a little dimensional on the back of that, pop it up, and again, take a look at your finished product. You've got this little slider, a gift card would fit in here, little note cards would fit in here. But how cute is this? That you have this little embellishment and you've got your window, remember. I think I may have skipped the window part, so let me just show you that. Before you glue your box top together, you need to put 4 little pieces of sticky strip. You need to use our medium weight window plastic, peel that up. I cut mine 2.5 by 2 3/4. It depends on the size of the window. So then on the inside, I just put my window plastic right over. That's the only thing I've used sticky strip for. And then on the outside, you just see a pretty little plastic. So obviously do that before you glue that together. Otherwise it's kind of hard to reach in there and do that. So here's one more look at our little box. And to double check measurements, you can look at my blog. Again, that's 321stamp.com. Thanks so much for stopping by. Enjoy.